Ever heard of a detective story from the Middle Ages? I'm not talking about fiction, but a real-life case that could rival any modern thriller. Let's travel back to 14th century Paris, a city of winding alleys, towering cathedrals, and dark secrets. Our story begins in 1386 with a gruesome discovery. A nobleman, Jean de Carouge, finds his wife, Marguerite, in a state of distress. She claims that while he was away, an old friend and rival, Jacques Legris, broke into their home and committed a terrible crime against her. The accusation was shocking. Legris was a respected courtier, a favorite of the powerful Count Pierre de Lenken, and known for his charm and intellect. Marguerite, on the other hand, was now facing public shame. In medieval society, such an accusation could easily be dismissed, and the woman herself blamed. But Jean de Carouge believed his wife. He was a stern, proud knight who valued his honor above all else. He immediately took the case to court, but it was his word against the powerful and well-connected Legris. The court, influenced by Count Pierre, was skeptical. They couldn't find enough evidence to convict Legris, and the case was eventually brought before the King of France himself, Charles VI. The legal system was at a standstill, with no witnesses and conflicting testimonies. How could they determine the truth? This is where things take a dramatic, almost unbelievable turn. Facing a dead end, Carouge invoked an ancient and brutal tradition. Trial by combat, he declared that God would decide the victor, proving the truth of the claim. If he won, his wife's honor would be restored, and Legris would be proven guilty. But if he lost, he would die, and Marguerite would be burned at the stake for perjury. The stakes could not have been higher. The king agreed, and a date was set. This wasn't just a duel, it was a public spectacle, the last officially sanctioned trial by combat in the history of Paris. On December 29, 1386, a huge crowd gathered at a monastery just outside the city walls. The atmosphere was electric. Jean de Carouge and Jacques Legris, once friends, now faced each other in full armor, ready to fight to the death. Marguerite watched from a platform, dressed in black, her life hanging in the balance. The fight was brutal and long. Both men were skilled warriors. They charged on horseback, lances shattering. They fought on foot with axes, swords, and daggers. At one point, Legris wounded Carouge in the thigh, and it seemed like all was lost. But Carouge, fueled by rage and desperation, managed to tackle Legris to the ground, pinned down, his heavy armor weighing on him. Legris was vulnerable. Carouge demanded he confess. Legris shouted his innocence to the very end. But Carouge, believing he was carrying out God's will, delivered the final, fatal blow. The crowd erupted. Carouge was hailed as a hero. He had won. According to the law of the time, his victory was divine proof of his wife's truthfulness. He was rewarded by the king, and his honor was restored. Marguerite was saved from the flames, and she and Jean went on to live their lives, though shadowed by the day's bloody events. This incredible true story reminds us that sometimes history is more dramatic than any fiction we could imagine. Thanks for watching this incredible piece of history unfold with me. If you enjoyed this journey back in time, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more true stories from the past. See you next time.